My child, this can be delayed no longer. You must come before me now. There are those you once trusted into, whose hands you placed your whole heart, who are quietly setting a snare behind your back. They do not come with sword or spear, but with smiles and hollow promises. Do not be afraid, for I will unmask the darkness hiding behind faces that seem familiar. Yet, first you must listen closely. Every word I speak today will be a shield, so you do not collapse when the winds rise. Not every storm begins with a roar. At times it rises in silence. Not every enemy carries a blade. Some carry only words. And not every pain comes from without. There are winds that blow back from an unguarded heart. My child, a storm is coming, yet I will not permit it to carry you away. I permit it to blow so that you may learn to stand. Do you not see that before every great upheaval, there is always a strange hush, a fragile peace that seems like favor, but is in truth the final breath of an old season about to dissolve? I call it the moment before the storm, the place where the soul is tested to see whether it is awake or merely at ease. In that hush I speak very softly while the world screams. Those who hear only the world will think I have fallen silent, but those who keep an undimmed heart will recognize a warning as light as a breeze slipping through the soul. Many times I have watched you walk among your choices, as if on thin ice, listening to sweet invitations, promising shortcuts, success, and safety, not knowing that every path that sidesteps discipline leads to ruin. I have set within you the compass of conscience, yet if you let compromise coat it with dust, you will wander the forest, thinking you have found paradise. Do not fear the limits I set. They are not chains, but hedges that keep you from the cliff. There will come a time when you feel my absence, when every plea seems to fall into emptiness and every sign goes dim, yet it is within that hollow space that true faith is formed. I am not hiding from you. I step back so you may learn to see with the eyes of the soul rather than with your passing feelings. Remember, light at times instructs you by means of darkness, for if you believe only when you see, how then are you different from the world? It is not the thunder that awakens you, but the whisper before the thunder. The signs I send you have never shouted. They come in small shapes, a nudge of intuition, a brief dream, a stranger recalling an old scripture. Yet when you brush them aside, the world will be forced to repeat the lesson in harsher ways. False peace is a veil before the whirlwind. Do not be lulled by the sea when it lies still, for if you fail to keep watch, the waves will break suddenly, and you will not grasp the anchor of faith in time. My child, to prepare early is not anxiety but fidelity to the truth. When I warn you, it is not to frighten you, but to save you from the very things you imagine you control for the wise. Do not wait for the storm to build their house. They listen while I am still speaking in the gentle wind. Some things do not shatter with lightning but melt quietly like dew on a leaf, seen only by those willing to stoop. My child, I have knocked on your heart many times, not with great events, but with the softest rhythms, a sleepless night without cause, a startle at the look in someone's eyes, a sentence that unsettles you, though no one has insulted you. These are not coincidences, they are signs. Yet you are often lulled by calm, supposing that peace equals safety. No, my child, true peace is the fruit of wakefulness, while false peace is a thin veil over bewilderment. When the soul stops keeping watch, darkness need not attack. It merely waits for you to forget that you stand on a battlefield. I remember the story of the prophet Elijah on Mount Horeb. He fled, exhausted and afraid, expecting me to appear in storm, earthquake, and fire, but I came instead in the sound of a gentle whisper. Do you see I am not fond of clamor? I do not need to intimidate you into belief. I ask only that you listen. If you cannot hear me in the soft wind, you will not recognize me in the thunder. Elijah kept vigil within that whisper, and in the very moment that seemed weakest, he was restored. So too, when you learn to be still amid the noise of life, you will discover that my word continues to brush your heart, though you imagined I had gone silent. When all seems steady, people often assume they are on the right road, yet sometimes it is precisely then that you are drifting off course. The peace you cling to may be the comfort zone of a soul that refuses to grow. I see you soothing yourself. It's fine. I'm fine. Everything is normal without knowing that still fine is the most dangerous whisper when the soul begins to cool. I have placed before you small warnings, a beloved person leaving without warning a plan, collapsing a door that seemed certain closing tight. You read them as misfortunes, but in truth they are my early hands drawing you away from the storm. Do not fear loss. I use loss to make you listen. Let me speak gently but plainly. You have traded too much for what you call peace. You avoid conflict, cover your wounds, and excuse small compromises, not seeing that every silence in the face of wrong lays another stone on the grave of truth within you. When the soul grows used to pretense it can no longer discern. My warnings when I speak you hear without understanding. When I am quiet, you think I have abandoned you. In fact, it is in my quiet that I wait for you to stop pretending blindness. Only the light of wakefulness can reach the darkness within you, not a darkness that comes from outside, but one born of your own presumption and fatigue. I do not blame you. I know how much you have fought, endured, and longed simply to be left in peace. Yet I do not call you to be left in peace. I call you to live in truth. Wakefulness is not fear. It is the courage to look deeply into what is cracking before it collapses. I want you to practice attending to the gentle breeze within those odd sensations, those moments when the soul feels uneasy. Though the surface looks lovely, do not smother that warning with your reasoning. Bring it before me, for I always speak softly, and only those who truly love me hear. Ask yourself, what within me needs setting right before the storm arrives? For the storm will come, yet what fells you will not be the wind, but the delay within your soul. The wise begin repairing the roof while the sun still shines. The foolish wait for rain to seek shelter. I do not send storms to punish you. I allow them so you may learn balance in the gale. You will see that after every strong wind, the trees with deep roots remain. Wakefulness is how you root yourself in me, so that when the world shudders, you are not swept away. If you ask how to recognize that gentle breeze amid a noisy life, I will tell you by stopping. Stop the endless scrolling, the disputes, the measuring of others, the self-justifying. Only in the stop will you hear what motion never reveals, for my word comes not to impress but to awaken. It does not shout change, it simply brushes your heart. Look again. When you learn to stop, you will see how many small things you dismissed are in fact doors out of your sorrow. One day you will look back and know that the times I restrained you, even when you were angry or disappointed, were the times I saved you from insincere people, from your own pride, from turning yourself into the center of all things. And when you are awake, you will see that every wave bears my fingerprints, not to drown you, but to teach you to swim by faith. Hold fast to this. A timely warning is love's gift, for only one who truly loves you dares to speak before you fall. The indifferent stay silent and let you stumble. I will never be silent and leave you lost. Therefore, when my word unsettles your heart, do not evade it. Give thanks, for I shake you only when you are sleeping at the edge of the abyss. When you have learned to listen and the ear of your heart is open, I will teach you another thing, the paths that are easy to walk, yet end in bitterness. But not yet. Let this gentle breeze pass through your heart first, before I tell you of the shortcut that is sweet to the tongue and bitter to the soul. There are roads strewn with flowers that hide thorns beneath, and voices that soothe, while a serpent whispers within them. My child, there are things that arrive quickly and beautifully, intoxicating the soul, while stealing what is most precious, truth. The world spreads countless shortcuts, promising success without labor, happiness without sacrifice, love without fidelity. But do not forget, the evil one has never given anything cheaply, he merely changes the wrapping on his wares. His shortcuts are always sugar on the outside with a bitterness within that slowly rots the soul unnoticed. I have watched you honest-hearted seeking the easy way because you were weary of the right way. You longed for swift results, instant favor, immediate peace. But grace is not delivered by speed, it grows through fidelity. What comes in haste withers like dry season grass. You think you have won, yet you have merely signed a quiet pact with defeat, for small compromises open the gate to great failures. When you skip a prayer because you are busy, avoid confession out of embarrassment, or pass on honesty for fear of displeasing someone, you have already set foot on the shortcut without knowing it. The shortcut is short at the start and 100 times longer on the way back. Long ago, I allowed Judas to hear the honeyed sound of silver. With a single kiss and a single night, he lost his whole life. Judas was not a monster. He was a man trying to hurry. My plan to force the kingdom to appear by human means, and his shortcut became an abyss. Do you see? When the soul lacks discipline, it mistakes temptation for opportunity, uses good reasons to do the wrong thing, and still imagines it is serving God. Then the devil need do nothing. He only lets you deceive yourself. Discipline may sound austere, yet it is a fence that guards the soul from compromise. It is not a chain, but ordered freedom. When you pray steadily without waiting for inspiration, examine yourself though you see no grave sin, and confess even the small faults you are training your soul to resist. Truth moves slowly, but endures, while lies move quickly and shatter. Remember, a tree that grows too fast stays tender, but the slow-growing tree gains a sound core. Discipline is how I temper you, to stand in the wind, not to dry out your faith. Perhaps you think I am weak. I cannot keep good habits yet. I do not ask for perfection, only for honest, daily effort. A short prayer, a single resistance to a familiar vice, one reluctant act of love. These are the bricks that raise the house of faith. You may not see achievement at once, but each small act is rewriting the destiny of your soul. Remember, Judas lost his soul through a single swift choice, but Peter was restored through a single repentant glance. The world today applauds those who move fast, do much, and win big. Yet in my eyes, the strongest are not those who surge ahead, but those who dare to stop when they see they are headed the wrong way. Discipline is the power to stop. Stop before speaking words that wound. Stop before agreeing to what profits you, but violates what is right. Stop before taking what belongs to another, and stop so you can listen to me. The one who knows how to stop is not weak, but has learned to trust. My road may seem slow, yet it always keeps pace with the rhythm your heart needs. I know there will be moments when you ask, why is God's path always winding? Why can't I have happiness sooner, easier? I smile because if I granted you easy happiness, you would forget that true joy does not live in outcomes, but in the journey. Waiting forges a soul that knows how to love. Discipline teaches you how to keep what is good. Hardship trains you to cherish what you receive. Shortcuts may bring you to the finish early, but they steal your growth, the very gift I desire for you more than success. Remember this as a mirror to your heart. Not every convenient path bears my blessing. Some opportunities arrive at the right time, yet not in the right way. Some people appear to lift you up, and others arrive to test whether you remain faithful. When a soul is disciplined, it does not chase every call. It discerns which voice is mine and which is the echo of its own desire. Only then are you truly free, not free to choose anything at all, but free to choose what is right. And child, when you learn to be faithful to what is right, even when it is not easy, you will witness a wonder-enduring joy. Joy does not spring from getting what you want, but from knowing you are within my will. You will cease to fear failure, for each act of faithfulness is a victory over yourself. You will cease to envy, knowing that I do not measure your heart by speed but by depth. You will cease to compare, realizing that my path is never parallel to their path. I say this to you as today's final word: do not choose the short way, only to stray long. The world will keep painting before your eyes glittering roads and dreams wrapped in sugar, but I choose to teach you to walk the narrow way, for only the narrow way is quiet enough for you to hear my voice. And when you have learned to walk slowly and steady, I will lead you further still how to keep your faith firm even when you do not feel me near. There will be days when you open your eyes and the world falls strangely silent. No miracles, no spark, no sense of a God watching over you. Prayer turns dry, the Mass feels like a repeated rite, and your once flaming soul seems but ash. You begin to wonder, have I left you? No, child. I have never gone far. At times I hide, not to make you afraid, but to teach you to believe, even when you do not feel. True light does not need to dazzle to be radiant. Sometimes it is a quiet streak upon the water seen only by the patient. I know you miss the first days when prayer set your heart ablaze, when all went smoothly, when you found me in every breeze, every song, every small wonder. But you have grown, and I no longer let you feel as before. For if I let feelings lead you, you would love the feeling of me rather than love me. You must know that faith does not sprout in brightness, but is tempered in darkness. As a seed must be buried in the earth, so faith must pass through starless nights to mature. Feelings may change, but my presence does not. When you do not feel me, I am behind you, steadying each step. Remember those who went before you in Scripture. Job, the righteous man, lost everything and cried out, in the blackness I call, but you do not answer yet. In that silence his faith was refined like gold in the fire. Or Mary standing through the long night beneath the cross, seeing no angels, hearing no echo of the first promise, beholding only her son's body on the wood, and still she remained unshaken. Child, to stand firm in the dark is faith's greatest act. When you cannot see me, and yet you choose to trust, that is the most mature love you can offer me. The empty space you fear is precisely where I teach you to separate faith from feeling. For if faith lives only by feeling, it dies when the winds shift. Recall the old graces, the times I rescued you, touched you, did what no one else could. Write them down, keep them, read them again. Those holy memories are hidden warmth embers that glow when outer flames go out. Stoke them with small acts, a psalm at dawn, a short prayer, before sleep a deep breath in a weary afternoon. These are the safety lines that tether your soul to me when emotions depart. I do not deny there are long nights when you would rather give up, when everything feels pointless. Petitions fall into a void, and your own heart doubts its faith. But do not be quick to flee that darkness, for night is not proof of absence. It is the testing ground of light. In time you will see that the dark teaches what daylight never can: how to listen to silence, how to find peace in helplessness, how to love me without demanding to be consoled. When your soul learns to love in the night, it will never fear tomorrow again. At times you will say, I have nothing left to offer God. Yet that very emptiness is the purest offering. When you have no strength to pray, but you remain, no feeling, but you keep your promise, of no motivation, but you choose fidelity, that is when you are touching true love. Such love needs no display, it needs constancy. Hear me clearly, I do not need your ornate prayers. I desire your simple presence in the dark. For it is there that I will work a miracle, the miracle of a faith no longer leaning on sight or sense. Do not look for me in the world's noise, for I often hide within the most ordinary things. In a child's laughter, in a tear of repentance, in the eyes of the poor whom you pass, I am there. You do not need to feel me to know I am present. Just as your heart beats, though you do not hear it, so my love surrounds you, even when you think yourself abandoned. True faith is believing what you do not see, walking through night while keeping your face set toward the dawn. Child, do not fear the empty spaces. They are not abysses, but the breathing room where the soul grows. As a child must learn to walk without being carried, so must you learn to trust without the comfort of certainty. I do not withdraw to punish you, but so that you may know love is not merely a feeling, it is a commitment lived in faith. And when you pass through the long night, you will discover I was never silent. You merely needed enough stillness to hear me speak in the voice of the wind and in the beating of your own heart. The day will come when you look back and see that every emptiness that frightened you was where I drew nearest, for in silence I touched depths that words cannot reach. It is holy ground, where faith is born not from thunder, but from trust in the midnight hour. And when you have learned to walk in darkness without losing faith, I will teach you something higher still, how to keep your heart luminous amid the clamor, how to see with the eyes of faith, not merely with the eyes of the world. Not everything that glitters comes from light, child. Some brilliance blinds the eyes, yet leaves the soul in shadow. This world knows how to make noise and calls that excitement. It knows how to display and calls that happiness. But behind the shimmer there is often a cold emptiness. People no longer die of hunger so much as of overload. They drown in information yet thirst for truth. They hear too much and cannot listen to the one true voice within. In your time, temptation comes less by brazen evil than by what is almost right, almost good, almost holy things that resemble light but are not my light. I once said, many invitations are loud, but truth only knocks softly. The world will tell you, if it makes you happy, it must be right, but I tell you, many short joys are the beginning of long sorrows. Discernment is the gift I give, so you may know my call from the echo of your own desire, yet you often mishear because you listen with your ears more than with your heart. The eyes notice what is lovely, the ears catch what is pleasant, but only a luminous heart perceives what is true. Do not rush to trust every dream, every sweet word, every timely opportunity. Test them in the fire of 3 marks: inner peace, harmony with the Word of God, and lasting fruit. If they cannot stand in these, let them go. I remember Samuel hearing a voice in the night. At first he thought it was Eli's. 3 times he ran to him, not knowing I was calling. Only when he learned to stop, to be still, to answer, "Speak, Lord, for your servant is listening," did he truly hear me. Do you see? The capacity to hear me is not born of sharp ears, but of a quieted heart. That is why I often come in the late hours when human voices fade. I speak softly so that only the earnest will hear. Lovers of noise will miss me, for I do not shout in the marketplace. I knock upon the door of silence. Guard your heart, for the deceiver does not come only from without. At times the very good ideas within you are the contrary wind. You will hear yourself say, "I do this for God," while secretly seeking praise. "I only want to help," while inwardly desiring recognition. The enemy need not hurl you into great sins. It only blurs the line between good and right, for good without right turns false. It will show you a gentle light so that you no longer seek the true light, the light that shines even into the darkest corners of your soul. Discernment is not suspicion of everything. It is testing everything in my light. Do not react quickly to praise or blame. Practice a holy pause. Wait 24 hours before you reply, decide, or draw conclusions. In that quiet, I will speak. Often, if you simply stop, the truth will rise to the surface like foam on water. The shallow chase the echoes, but the wise wait for the true voice. Remember, silence is never empty. It is the room into which I enter. And when you learn to listen in the midst of noise, you will no longer be easily swept along by the crowd. You will begin to see with the heart the thing eyes cannot do. The eyes perceive shapes, but the heart perceives motives. The eyes are deceived by appearances, but the heart is illumined by the grace of discernment. When you train yourself to see others in my light, you will know who truly seeks me and who merely uses my name to gratify themselves. But remember, I do not teach you to discern in order to judge, but in order to love rightly. Love without clarity is only pity. Love with discernment is salvation. Do not seek validation in the clamor, my child. Noise will always agree with what you want, not what you need. It will cheer you today and forget you tomorrow, but I am different. I speak words that unsettle you, yet they are the very words that make you live truthfully. Choose to hear me, even when my words ache within you. For better to hurt in the light than be at ease in the dark. Discernment is not only choosing what is right, it is daring to lose what is wrong. One day you will realize that stillness is the soul's greatest victory. When you cease being jerked about by emotions, cease living by public opinion, cease fretting over the future, you will begin to hear my voice clearly. Not an echo, but a private voice, gentle and yet stronger than any storm. Then you will know you are within my will, not because everything is smooth, but because your heart is no longer tangled. And that is the sign of a free soul. My dear child, if you have learned to discern amid 1,000 noises, I will lead you a step further. For only those who keep their hearts bright can pass through the storm without their fire going out. And now I want to teach you this, the way to pass through the storm, not merely to survive, but to keep loving. For the mission does not need exhausted heroes. It needs hearts still aflame, those who know how to serve, even when the wind blows against them. My child, after all the dark nights, the headwinds, the times you thought you had lost everything, I have kept you not, so you might merely survive, but so you might serve. The storm does not weaken you. It merely strips away what is unnecessary. After every gust, only what is true remains true. Faith, true. Love your true self. Many think victory is to pass through the tempest without a scratch. But I tell you, victory is when you are still gentle enough to love after the storm. For the mission does not need weary heroes. It needs hearts still on fire. You once begged me, do not let me meet rough seas, and I did not grant that prayer. I did not silence the storm because I knew that without storms you would never learn to row. If I removed every trial, your soul would be as frail as a plant grown under glass. You were made to be strong in meekness, steadfast in love. And that strength does not come from muscle or willpower, but from a heart turned toward me. A healthy heart is not one that never feels pain. It is one that knows how to let love heal every wound. Look to Peter, the one who fell 3 times, who denied me in the cold of night, yet afterward became the rock on which the church was built. For he let his tears wash away fear, and let love turn failure into beginning. Do you see, the true servant is not the one who has never fallen, but the one who falls and knows how to rise for the sake of love. Service is not wringing yourself dry to do things for me, but living so that every action gives off the warmth of my presence. A weary soul may travel far, but only a heart still aflame can warm others. Let me teach you a secret of those, strong in the spirit, they pray steadily, live truthfully, and remain rooted in community. These are the 3 lifebloods that nourish the Sacred Heart. Prayer keeps you connected to the source of light. Living truthfully guards you from hypocrisy and pride. And community, this is where you learn to love indeed, not just in ideas. When you are tired, do not close in on yourself. Come to those souls who believe, who fall, who rise together. For I never pour strength into the isolated. I send fire down when you ask together. Do you know the greatest storm in life is not loss, but when you let fear extinguish your zeal, fear of being misunderstood, fear of being hurt, fear of being used. But if you truly love, you will no longer be afraid. For love in me does not seek safe ground. It seeks the soul that needs healing. When you choose to forgive the one who wounded you, you are not weak, you are winning. When you say sorry, though you were not entirely at fault, you do not lose, you gain peace. When you choose to repair instead of resent, you let love take the helm of your life again. That is true health, the health of a soul that knows how to love without demanding perfection. At times you will ask, how can I keep loving when I am empty? My child, love never runs dry by itself. Only you forget how to drink from the source. Return to prayer. Sit quietly before the cross. Let your breathing become thanksgiving. Each time you come back to me, the fire in you is lit again, not by thunder but by a gentle ray. You will see, though the wind blows, that fire does not go out, for it no longer depends on feeling. It is fed by faith. Remember, you were created not merely to survive storms, but to lead others out of them. When you have tasted the dark, you will know how to guide another through the night. When you have wept, you will know how to wipe tears. When you have been weak, you will know how to lift the weaker. This is the meaning of service, not to save the whole world, but to keep one small lamp from going out. A heart that knows how to love, even tired, trembling, and scarred, is still the most beautiful wonder I have ever made. I do not promise you that the storm will cease, but I promise that I will be within you in the midst of it. And when the storm has passed, others will recognize me by the way you love, by the way you forgive, by the way you keep smiling, though the sky is overcast. You are the witness of a quiet miracle, the miracle of a soul that keeps its fire amid raging waves. Therefore, keep loving, even if no one returns it. Keep serving, even if no one sees. Keep believing, even when there is nothing left to cling to, for it is precisely then that you are most like me. When you finish this journey, you will understand that every trial did not come to break you, but to forge you into light. No storm was meant to snuff you out, but to let me shine more clearly through the wind and the rain. And you will see that among the ruins of sorrow, one thing remains unquenchable: your heart, so long as it still knows how to love. Rest now, my child. Let the wind pass over you. Let the tears wash away the salt. For when dawn comes, you will rise stronger, gentler, and more radiant than ever. I will walk with you as I promised until the day the last storm arches into a sky of peace. And then you will understand everything I ever taught you: watchfulness, fidelity, believing in the dark, discerning in the noise, was for one purpose alone, that you might love to the very end. I know, beloved child, there will be seasons when you must pass through like a field left cracked and barren after a storm, with only parched earth and fragments of faith blown away by the wind. You will ask why you must endure, why the shadows come when you only wish to live gently and truthfully. Yet in that very moment when you feel lost in a moonless night, I am still there, quiet and steadfast, lifting you with the tender breath of love. Not every loss is punishment, nor is every pain a penalty. Sometimes it is simply life's way of teaching you to see again, to love again, to believe again, and to forgive yourself. There are roads that cannot be avoided, choices that seem like mistakes, but are in fact the gateways to your maturity. Do not rush to blame or despair when you fall, for falling is not an ending, but a reminder to learn how to rise by the strength within your own soul. I see every tear you shed, every sigh you hide, every time you want to give up. But know this: those tears are not wasted. They are the seeds of awakening. Each time you suffer, your heart grows deeper. Each time you lose, your heart grows wider, more tender with yourself and with others. The loneliness you fear is in truth a precious silence, where the soul converses with itself, where it hears the truest voice within the call of the good of the light I have always planted in you. Do not think my silence means I abandon you. It is in that silence that I am watching, guiding, laying down small signs that only in stillness you can see. At times I do not still the storm, not because I do not love you, but because I want you to learn to steer your boat through the squall, to understand that courage is born not of safety, but of trust amid uncertainty. You will meet people who make you doubt human goodness, words that wound, betrayals that tempt you to close your heart. But remember, do not let their darkness dim your light. Forgiveness is not weakness. It is the strength that frees the soul from the chains of hatred. When you choose love, you do not only save another, you are saving yourself. Life does not promise you a straight road, but it always offers the chance to grow through the bends and rough places. Every hardship is a lesson in patience, every trial a forging of faith. Do not fear when you feel not enough, for no one is born perfect and no one is loved because they are faultless. I love you, not because you are strong, but because I see in you the desire to become better day by day. When you stand at a crossroads, close your eyes and listen to your heart. Do not listen to the world's clamor. Truth never shouts, it only whispers. But if you will listen, the way will shine clearer than the Sunday. You may pass through long days without a gleam of hope, but do not forget, dawn always follows the deepest night. Sometimes you need only be patient a little longer, believe once more, and the miracle will appear. Let faith be the lamp in the night, lighting paths you never dared to tread. And when you stumble, do not be afraid to look back, for only by facing your mistakes will you understand what true maturity is. I know you will often doubt even me, but do not be troubled. Faith need not be perfect, it need only be sincere. I do not require you always to be strong. I only ask that you do not let go. Each time you rise again, the light within you shines a little brighter, and I am there smiling because you have taken another step on the journey back to your true self. The world can be cold, but if you keep the flame of compassion alive in your heart, you will never lose your way. Live bravely like a river winding, yet forever seeking the open sea, blocked, yet always finding a way to flow. Do not fear being different. That very difference makes you singular. Every soul has its own journey, and you are not required to be anyone else. You need only be honest with your essence, the deepest part into which I have breathed spirit. When you learn to love yourself with gratitude, when you dare to face the past without resentment, you step closer to the light. Do not forget, light is never lost. It is only veiled by the dust of fear and doubt. Gently brush those layers away one by one, and you will see your soul glow as it did at the beginning. The road of life is long, and I cannot promise there will be no more lonely nights, no slow healing wounds, no moments when it feels as if the sky itself is collapsing. But I can promise this: you are never alone. Wherever you go, even when you wander through the maze of sorrow, my hand is holding yours, though at times you do not notice. Trust that every tear today waters a greener tomorrow. Every pain has a reason to exist, and in the end it will teach you how to love more completely. Life is not merely a chain of striving, but a pilgrimage that awakens you to the worth of each breath, each moment. Do not run so fast that you forget to pause for the scent of the wind, to listen to the stirring of your own heart. For in those small, ordinary seconds, you will feel me nearer than ever. I am not only above, but within each gaze. You cast each smile, you offer each warmth born of kindness. When you give love, you lessen the world's suffering. When you choose to trust in the good, you carry forward the flame I placed in you. Keep going even if your steps tremble. Keep believing even if your heart has been hurt. Because after all is said and done, you will discover this: the greatest thing is not to reach the destination, but to keep your innocence intact along a difficult road. And I remain your unseen support, the soft breath in the stormy night, the small yet steadfast voice that reminds you, you are strong enough to go on, worthy enough to be loved, and brave enough to live true to yourself. My child, a human life is not only a fragile thread stretched between light and shadow, it is also a piece of music that asks the player to touch the hardest notes. If you keep avoiding them, the song will forever be unfinished. If you step into them, the melody may finally break open. Hold yourself to an unflinching gaze so you can recognize what you've hidden at the bottom of your heart, the smoldering angers, the secret cravings, the nameless shames. Do not paint gloss over the cracks. Do not bandage them with a smile. Peace is not born from a polished shell, but from the courage to call each wound, each fear, by its true name. We all want to be loved for what is beautiful, but true self-love begins when you sit beside your weakest self, lay a hand there and whisper, "I see you, and I will not abandon you again." In that moment you will feel an invisible lock turn a prison door open, a narrow slit for fresh air to rush in. Do not worry if your hands still shake. Even trembling hands can hold themselves tight. What matters is that you do not give up halfway. You will see that each time you name what is happening, its power over you lessens. Name it enough, and it becomes only a story that has passed, not a blade laid against your throat. You are living in a bright square of lights where every cry is a skillful invitation, where every sign promises instant joy, where every face tries to shine brighter than the next. They tell you, buy one more thing, and you will feel enough. Earn a little more, and you will feel at peace. Reach such and such a title, and you will be respected. Yet this counterfeit fullness is like a gold-plated cup that gleams on the surface. Touch it to your lips, and you taste the strange bitterness of emptiness. Train your eyes to move past surfaces and go straight to the core. Train your ears to hear the true beat of your heart amid the marketplace noise. School your heart with a discipline both gentle and unyielding. Ask yourself what remains when you switch off the neon signs, when you leave the short applause behind, when you sit still before a blank wall. If the answer unsettles, you take it as a good sign. It invites you into the work of inner housekeeping, sorting the jumbled drawers and returning each thing to where it belongs, until the house of your heart grows spacious. Each time you set an old relic outside your mind, your footfalls grow lighter, and the air around you clears like a morning after rain. But do not mistake facing the truth for being cruel to yourself. Firmness is needed, yes, and so is tenderness. When you slip, do not lash yourself bloody. Stand up, brush off the dust. Remember the hole you fell into, and inch forward again. Forgiveness is not the erasure of standards, but granting yourself another chance to practice what is right. Honesty does not mean broadcasting your faults, but the courage to correct your course when you know you have gone astray. Believe this each time you choose what is true over what is convenient, patience over impulsiveness, quiet over clamor. A new sinew forms within you, stringing day to day, until you become a person with substance, with foundation, with a stance that holds firm in heavy winds. There will be times you feel alone, for not everyone wants to live this way. Some may mock you or pity you for making things hard on yourself. You have the right to feel sad, but do not let sadness reroute you. Remember, an old tree does not rise from soft soil. It roots in the hard layer, endures pelting rains and cracking droughts, and in return grows rings dense and strong. So it is with you. Steadfastness carves inner rings through the years, so that despite doubt from others or turmoil around you, your own boundary remains intact. And one day some scattered lost soul will look at the way you live and find in you a safe place to stand. Then your faithful life itself becomes a quiet invitation, drawing others back to honesty without any need for slogans. Practice small habits with long strength, for what is great always sprouts from what is small. Each morning before you touch the world, touch yourself a few deep breaths to steady the mind, a few lines written by hand to untangle your thoughts, a few minutes of silence to ask, what principle do I choose to live by today? When you begin the day with clarity, the noise of life loses some of its power. In conversation, practice listening all the way through. Do not rush to rebut to win, ask to understand. If you dare to listen down to the bottom of another's words, you will see that behind every anger lies a fear, and behind every fear a longing to be received. Knowing this, you will throw fewer stones and extend more hands. Truth does not make you cold. It is falsehood that freezes the heart. Truth spoken with compassion has its own way of healing wounds, thought beyond repair. On this path you will meet desires that seem harmless, yet erode your quiet strength. The itch for quick praise, the hunger for immediate results, the wish for a shortcut without sweat. Smile at them as you would at a child begging for candy before dinner. The child within you needs soothing, not the authority to decide. Point it toward the longer feast, the joy of doing right. Though slowly, the joy of progress, little by little, the joy of discipline turning the hard into the everyday. When you grow used to this kind of happiness, the world's momentary glitter pales. You will learn to refuse glories that are not yours, to set down trophies others swear are worthy. When your heart knows they do not fit, to step back in order to keep the straightness in your gaze. People may not understand, but my dear, public understanding does not nourish your soul. Only the consistency between what you believe and what you do can feed it. And allow yourself joy along the way. Do not wait for the finish line. Young grass by the roadside, the laughter of a stranger, the sky after an evening rain, the scent of home rice boiling on the stove. Each is a letter from life, reminding you that truth is not dry, but gentle as late sunlight. You choose honesty, not to suffer with pride, but to breathe deeper, laugh wider, and sleep more peacefully. When you lay your head on the pillow, ask one simple question: was I a little more honest today? If the answer is yes, however small, your heart will open one more tiny seed of light. Tomorrow sow another. A whole garden of sunlight is grown from such specks, and there will come a morning when you open the door and find the place ablaze, unable to say exactly when it began to shine. Do not forget gratitude. Gratitude is the thread that snaps easily. If you do not tend it yet, it is also the thread that stitches the torn seams of the soul. Give thanks for what comes as you hoped, and for what makes you falter. The smooth teaches you how wide life can be, the rough shows you where you are still untrained. Thank the one who loves you gently, and the one who opposes you sternly. Both are teachers, each handing you a different lesson. When the knots of relationship tighten to the point of choking, choose the thread of gratitude to loosen them. It is the safest way out of the maze of blame. And once you are free, you will feel light as a dry leaf, given to the wind, no longer weighed down by endless judgments. Finally, remember that walking in the light does not mean you are always bright. Some days the clouds will cover everything. On those days, your duty is to take faithful steps, not to force the sun to appear. Faithfulness means doing what is right at close range, a kind act, a straight word, an upright decision, a minute of prayer, a phone call to apologize, a moment of owning your fault without excuses. Such small seeds falling to the ground bring rain where you least expect it. And when the clouds part, you will see you have come farther than you imagined. You do not need to be excellent now in order to continue. You need only to be truthful now, so you do not return to the same place. As you grow used to this rhythm, fear will speak less loudly in your head, and peace will learn to speak clearly in its own language, the voice of a heart that owes nothing more to the dark. So then, my beloved, be the gatekeeper of your own soul, open to light, bolt the door against deceit. Welcome simple joys, bid the noisy intoxication farewell. Speak gently to your weakness, be firm with your fickleness. Bow to truth, lift your face to the winds of life. Go beyond the paint and touch the grain of the wood. Call what is present by its true name. Lay down one honest brick at a time. When you look up, you will see a solid road appearing, not because the world has suddenly turned kind, but because a true ground has formed within you, where every step rings with the sound of integrity. And that sound itself will lead you out of the labyrinth and bring you home where you can sit at ease inside yourself, smile, and know that happiness is no longer a promise borrowed from elsewhere, but the quiet sap rising from the roots have chosen to tend each day. There will be days when you feel lost in the storm amid the howls of fate and the wounds in your soul that have not yet had time to heal. In those moments, when faith flickers like a candle before the wind, you are being tempered. Life does not hone us with ease, but with suffering, with the collisions that show us our true strength lies not in never falling, but in knowing how to rise, how to smile, even while tears still cling to your cheeks. You will find anger surging up like a fire that wants to consume everything. There will be instants of resentment that draw your heart tight with injustice and loss. But child, if you let those feelings rule you, they will slowly turn you into a stranger to yourself. Do not let the fire of anger burn away your compassion. Do not let bitterness imprison you in suffering's cell. Instead of letting them destroy you, learn to transmute them. Turn anger into resolve, hurt, into understanding loss, into the strength to lift others. Only when you can love even in the ruins, forgive even in the wound, will you truly touch peace. You must understand that every trial that comes to you bears a purpose. No storm is meaningless. No night is without a hidden dawn. Sometimes, precisely when you think you are losing everything, life is opening a new path where you learn that value does not lie in what you possess, but in the inner power to go on when nothing remains. I know there are times you want to sink to your knees to let everything go and let fate sweep you away. But if you will lift your head and look within, you will see I am still there, quiet, steadfast, like a lamp waiting for your return. The very moment you stand up, even on a single faint breath, you have conquered the darkness within. Victory is not to crush, it is to transcend. It is not to prove, it is to keep faith when all seems to fall apart. Your greatest enemies are not out there, but within fear that makes you shrink, arrogance that makes you forget your origin, doubt that leaves you wandering among clashing voices. You will be tempted by hollow glory, by sweet yet empty words, by the false lights of fame. You must learn to discern the true light from the mirage. Do not let weakness lead you. Do not let the world's echoes drown out the voice inside. When you grow still enough to listen within, you will hear me not through words, but through a knowing, through the quiet that threads every breath. You will see that true strength does not come from conquest, but from holding your soul steady amid life's whirlwinds. Remember, the strong are not those without fear, but those who feel fear and still move forward. Life will never cease to test you. When you think you are resilient enough, a new challenge will come to teach you deeper patience. When you think you know how to love, another wound will show you the meaning of love without conditions. Each pain is a rebirth. Every tear, if you learn to see differently, is a seed that nourishes the soul. Do not be ashamed of weakness, for only those who have been weak know what true strength is. Only those who have fallen cherish standing up. Only those who have been swallowed by darkness understand the worth of light. And you, no matter how many stumbles you endure, believe that no step is wasted and no pain is without the lesson of growth. You will meet those who hurt you, sometimes by accident, sometimes by intent. But child, do not let your heart turn to stone because of them. Keep your heart soft and understanding, for firmness is born not of numbness but of mercy. Forgiveness is not because others deserve it, but because you deserve peace. When you forgive, you do not lower yourself, you raise yourself. Forgiveness sets down the burden of resentment, so you may walk more lightly. And when you learn this, you have conquered yourself, the noblest victory no enemy can ever steal. You may ask why you must endure, why you must strive when it seems no one understands or sees what you have done. But child, what matters is not who sees, but whether you have lived true. A seed does not need applause to sprout. It needs only to trust the light. So it is with you. Hold fast to faith in the good, in the path you know is right, and even if no one acknowledges it, you are already shining. True light needs no stage. It illumines the heart that bears it. And I see it all. I see the nights you cried alone, the times you wanted to give up, yet rose again the moments you kept silent to spare another from hurt. In each of those instants you were writing your own hymn of heroism, unassuming, unadorned, yet radiant and sacred. Remember, every storm will pass, every wound will heal, only do not let go. Whenever you find yourself lost in the dark, remember my words today. At the very heart of the thickest night, there is always a slit of light for the one who dares to believe. Seek it not with your eyes but with your heart. Walk if only a single small step, for each step carries you closer to the dawn. Do not fear your trembling. Trembling is not weakness. It means you can still feel that your heart is still alive. And as long as that heart still beats, still believes no night can last forever, you are a warrior of the light even when you forget it. The world will try to make you believe you are small, insufficient, unable to overcome. But you were not born to bow before destiny. You were born to right it with courage. Remember, true strength is not in the body, but in a spirit that does not yield. When you hold your head high, even in the mire you have triumphed. When you choose love over resentment, you brighten a corner of the sky. When you choose to continue, even with no clear hope in sight, you make the universe itself incline before that will. I do not promise that the road will be easy. I promise only this: if you keep your heart clean, and the light alive within you will never walk alone. I will go with you through every night, around every bend, through winters, so long they seem to have no end. And one day when you look back, you will know that suffering was not to punish you, but to forge you a steadfast soul, a heart that loves a light that shows the way to others. Then you will smile, for you will understand the greatest victory in life is not to stand on the summit, but to keep your heart intact after all the storms. Therefore, when you feel spent, take a deep breath and remember you are not alone. When you stand at the crossroads of despair and hope, choose to believe even just a little. When the world feels too cold, be the one who kindles a flame. For each small light from your heart can drive away someone's night. Live, child, not to prove anything, but to spread the goodness I have sown within you. However many times you stumble, I know you will rise again, for within you is a power. Nothing can extinguish the power of faith, of kindness, of the light I have entrusted to you. And then one day, when you have passed through it all, you will understand every moment that once brought you to your knees became a brick in the resilient soul you carry today. Every pain is a triumph song of life. Every tear reflects the light of faith. Keep them in your heart, so that when the winds rise again, you will smile and say, I have walked through the dark. I have conquered myself, and I still stand. Child, remember that each passing moment carries away a portion of life's breath, and time never pauses to wait for anyone. Do not let your heart drift into the fog of hesitation or fear, for the instant you falter, your destiny slips beyond your grasp. This world moves by the austere laws of creation, and only those who make use of every moment of being can touch true glory. Life is brief, and we so often lose it to trifles, to the scramble for gain, to the shapeless anxieties of tomorrow. But child, nothing is more frightening than failing to live your true calling. Life's tempests are not aberrations. They are the trials that temper soul and metal. When the sea lies flat, do not foolishly think the calm will last, for in that stillness nature is drawing breath before its fury, and storms are quietly gathering in the womb of clouds. Likewise, when your life grows too placid, ask whether you are hiding from the very trials you were meant to face. Only when the wind rises do we learn the strength of a sail. Only when the squall breaks do we discover the power within. Child, awakening is not merely to open your eyes to the world, but to open your heart to the tremors of the universe. Sometimes the storm comes not to destroy, but to purify. not to take but to return to you a truer self, stronger, deeper, closer to truth. Learn to stand firm against the headwind. Learn to smile when everything seems to crumble. Do not wait for someone to save you, for even those who love you most may never fully understand your pain. In those times, you must be the one to take your own hand. Be the lamp that lights your path in the dark. I am with you, but I cannot walk in your place. I give you strength, but only you can wield it. When the world turns its back, when hearts change, remember that faith is a flame that never dies so long as you will it to burn. There will be times you feel abandoned, alone in the whirlwind of fate. Do not be afraid, for such solitude is not the mark of failure, but an invitation to step deeper into the inner realm where your soul can hear my voice more clearly than ever. People fear loneliness, not knowing that only in utter stillness does the soul find its purest power. Let solitude be the cradle that nourishes your strength. Do not let it become the chain that binds you. When no one stands beside you, you will learn to lean upon faith. When no one believes in you, you will learn to believe in yourself. This is the path of strong spirits, those who dare to walk where no road has yet been drawn. Child, do not let the luster of power and wealth blind you. The world favors what glitters on the surface, though within it is nothing but emptiness. Some imagine themselves atop the peak of renown, while in truth they are falling into the abyss of ambition. They trade their souls for a little borrowed might, and in time they learn that no throne stands firm if built upon deceit. Steer clear of such temptations, for they are snares of the dark, sweet for a moment, poisonous for a lifetime. True power does not rest in the hands of the mighty, but in the heart that keeps to what is just. A single honest word can prove stronger than 10,000 swords. A merciful heart can win even the most calloused soul. Do not let your heart be clouded by ambition. Let it be illumined by faith. Believe that true strength does not come from ruling over others, but from conquering yourself. Patience is the sword of the wise, and integrity is the shield of the faithful. When you keep your heart pure in the midst of a troubled world, when you know how to wait in silence without despair, that is the very moment you touch the highest power, the power to master your own soul. My child, the world may collapse around you, but do not let the world within you fall. Storms may sweep away everything home possessions renown, even those you love. Yet if your heart clings to the holy will, you will stand firm like a rock in the rushing stream. True peace does not come from avoiding the storm, but from learning how to dwell at rest within it. Know that every trial carries a hidden grace, and every sorrow is a door opening onto a new understanding. Only when you dare to pass through fear can you touch freedom. Do not seek safety in what is easy. That safety is an illusion, a thin mist that hides the abyss beneath. Choose the hard path, for only that path leads to the summit. People often fear suffering, yet suffering itself is the greatest teacher. It teaches you humility, teaches you love, teaches you to cherish the smallest things. And when you have once been brought to your knees, you will learn how to rise with steadier feet, a gentler heart, and a clearer soul. My child, faith is not blind belief, but a light that guides you through the night. Keep that flame burning in your heart, even if the winds snuff out every lamp around you. For when the world is draped in darkness, a single spark can show the way for 1,000 wandering souls. Do not fear failure, for failure is only a lesson written in a bitter tongue. Do not fear. Loss, for some things become truly yours only after you have let go of the vain. Live with gratitude, for gratitude is the root of peace. Each morning you awaken, give thanks that you still have breath to continue the journey. Each time the sun sets, give thanks that you have lived a full day, whether crowded with trials or washed in tears. When you are grateful, you will see the world transformed, not a battlefield of striving, but a garden where the soul is bathed in light. And my child, remember that all power, all peace, all happiness spring from living in harmony with my holy will. Do not chase the world's perfection. Seek wholeness of soul. Do not compare yourself to others, for you were made to be unique. When you live true to your own being, you will become a light to others without trying to shine. That light does not come from display, but from inner purity, from kindness, and from faithful devotion. The storms will pass, and the sun will rise again. But the soul tempered by the gale will never be as before. It will become more resilient, more profound, and more radiant than ever. My child, walk on even if the road ahead is strewn with stones. Stand firm in faith, for I am always beside you, though your eyes do not see. Live as though every breath were a gift and every day an opportunity to love and to serve. The world outside may change, but love and truth remain forever. When you live by faith, you need not search for safety, for safety already dwells within your heart. When you live in truth, you need not fear. Being diminished, for nothing can take away what is eternal. And when you live in love, you will understand that every sorrow is a seed of light. Therefore, my child, receive life with faith, courage, and gentleness. For in the end, those who know how to love in the storm are the ones who are truly immortal. My child, perhaps deep within you, have always wondered why, whenever the fierce waves are about to break, whenever life is about to open a new chapter of trial, I come to you and speak with words that are both tender and urgent. Know this: I do not appear before the storm by chance. I see what you have not yet seen. I know the roads you are about to take, the stones you may stumble on, the hidden turns where a single choice could alter your whole journey. You cannot grasp it all today, but every word I speak and every time I rouse your heart carry the same love and single intention: to shelter you, to ready you with strength to stand, and to lead you through the dense night of the trial that lies ahead. The storms of which I speak are not only tempests of wind or upheavals visible to the eye. Often they are gales that begin quietly within the soul. Sometimes they take the shape of a nameless fear, a weight that chokes your breath in the midnight hours. Sometimes they come as betrayal or sudden loss that seems to break you beyond repair. At other times, the storm is misdirection itself, when you are drawn into false lights, into phantoms of success, fame, or love that make you forget the voice within. All these storms, my beloved child, do not come to destroy you, but to test you, to hone your soul into steadiness and clarity. They come to see whether you can stand in the ruins, whether you have faith enough to keep your heart bright amid encroaching night. That is why I speak before the storm, for if you pass through unprepared, you will suffer more than you must. I know there are tender corners in your heart, wounds still unhealed, parts you have not yet dared to face. I know there are times you think yourself strong and wise, yet one contrary wind makes you tremble and doubt your very self. I know you will sometimes wish to flee, to turn your back on everything, convinced you are alone in this world. For this reason, I cannot be silent. I speak not to frighten or control you, but to give you an invisible armor, the armor of wakefulness, of trust, of love, without conditions. You are not yet ready to see as I see, but you are ready to listen, to carry my words like a torch for your path and a shield for your heart. Life, my child, is a chain of lessons cleverly veiled in adversity. Each time you stumble, you think you have reached the end, yet in truth it is only a bend in the road where you discover how strong you really are. Remember, the storm does not come to topple you, but to turn you back to yourself, to slow your steps until you can hear the whisper of your own soul. Do not fear the storm. There is always a still eye at its center. If you are calm enough, you will hear me there calling your name and giving you the faith that all things will pass, and when they do, you will not be who you were. There are pains whose reasons you will understand only by passing through them. There are losses that seem to take everything, yet they only clear the way for what is deeper, lovelier, more fitting to your heart. Life is not always gentle, but it is fair in its own way. It gives you exactly what you need to grow, no more and no less. I see in each of your steps how naivete yields to steadiness, how impulsiveness makes room for composure. Along this journey, my words are not commands, but seeds of love offered for you to sow in your heart, so they may bloom tomorrow into steadfast faith. There will be days when you stand at a crossroads with no idea which way to turn, for every path carries its own reason and its mixture of hope and risk. In those moments, do not listen only to the world's noise. Return within and ask yourself, what brings my heart to peace? That answer, my child, is the compass I placed within you long ago. The storms without may make you tremble, but if within you are steady, no wind can throw you down. Learn to trust your intuition, for within it there is a spark of my light, a thread of the sacred leading you on. There will come a time when you feel you have lost everything: faith, direction, even the one who promised to walk beside you. Do not despair then. Sometimes loss is the only way you find your way back to yourself. I know you will hurt. Weep if you must. Let your tears wash away what has grown old, so that when dawn comes you can look upon the world with new eyes. Do not rush to accuse life of injustice, for within every loss I am still hidden, waiting for you to see that nothing truly leaves you. You are being taught to let go so that you may take hold again with stronger hands. I have watched countless souls pass through storms and blaze with greater light, and I trust you will do the same. Each storm is an examination. Each wound is a testament to growth. You will learn to love without binding, to sacrifice without resentment, to rise without needing another's hand. Then you will understand that what I say today is not a warning, but a message sent from eternal love. Remember, you are never alone. Even if you reach the very end of darkness, my light is there waiting for your return. Everything you undergo is part of the necessary journey of becoming yourself strong, steadfast, and full of love. Do not fear the unknown. It is in the shadowed places of doubt that the seed of faith can sprout. I ask only that you keep your heart open so that when the call comes, you are quiet enough to recognize it. Beloved child, you may not grasp all I say today, but one day after you have weathered enough storms, you will remember these words and smile. You will see that I have never left you, not for a single breath. My love and my guidance do not appear in dazzling miracles, but in each breath, each heartbeat, each time you stand again after you have fallen. You yourself are the miracle I have placed in this life, and I will always be the wind, the light, the whisper within the tempest, reminding you, do not be afraid, for I am ever here. Each time you turn your heart toward me, it is no barren ritual or tired habit, but a bell of awakening ringing from the depths of your soul. That call not only draws you nearer to the wellspring of peace, it also stirs in you the awareness that this life is ever poised for hidden surges. Do not think that when the lake lies still, its depths hold no swirling currents. Do not mistake peace for something everlasting. Peace is a brief pause that creation grants you to prepare for the next leg of the journey, a journey where your heart will be tested, your will refined, and your faith examined to its very core. My child, when I call it is because I want you to act, to live truly, to stay awake, and to love for real. For to drift through the days is to walk in fog without knowing the way home. I know your heart at times you grow weary, for this world is thick with noise and crowded with things that pull you away from the quiet voice of the Spirit. It is easy to be swept along by fleeting pleasures, to believe you can postpone that tomorrow will still be there for you to recover the peace you lost. Yet you may not notice that with each day a leaf falls from the branch of life. No one can tell which gust of wind will be the last. Storms give no warning, and suffering often arrives when your heart is weakest. In that moment, if you have never trained your soul to be strong, you will shatter like a delicate vessel slipping from a careless hand. So do not wait for thunder to seek a roof. Do not wait for hunger to remember bread. and do not wait for a wounded heart to seek the light. Come to me even when your life is bright and everything seems in order, for only in the still hours of peace can you cultivate inner strength, lay the foundations of faith, and learn how to stand firm when the tempests rise. Some remember to pray only in desperation be different. Come to me with gratitude, not only with pleas. When you open your heart in tranquility, my voice grows clearer. My words soak into your soul like spring rain into the earth. Then you will see that faith is not merely a lifeline in danger, but a lamp that guides you through days that only seem serene. True peace does not come from avoiding storms, but from the capacity to stand within them without losing yourself. Learn to listen before the winds rise, for that is when I speak to you in a language beyond words, when you glimpse yourself in the mirror of stillness. If you will let your heart grow quiet, you will hear the subtle things that the world's clamor conceals. You will recognize fears, angers, and envies you thought you never had yet have always lurked in the depths. They are motes of dust that dull the light of the soul, clouding your vision of the world. Only when you consent to listen in silence can you see each speck and have the chance to wipe it away. This is the most hidden and the most splendid work of a human being, the work of cleansing one's own heart so it can reflect the light of love and truth. When the storm breaks, those who have purified themselves beforehand will stand firm, for they already know who they are and what truly matters. Do not fear the trials life brings, my child. Each storm is not a curse, but a lesson I arrange so that you might grow stronger. As a seed needs dark soil and heavy rain to sprout, so your soul needs testing to blossom. If life were only light, how would you know the worth of faith? If you had never trembled before thunder, how would you understand the meaning of peace? Therefore, I do not wish you to avoid suffering, but to learn to pass through it with open eyes and a steadfast heart. You will see that every fall is not failure, but an invitation to rise with a new bearing, lighter, wiser, and more loving. Remember that strength is not lodged in muscle or in hard words, but in the ability to keep your heart clear amid the dark. The truly strong are those who hold to faith when all seems to collapse. They do not let the storm define them. They use it to hone the soul. So do not let circumstances decide who you are. Let kindness, honesty, and trust in the good be the compass that guides you. If you keep these three, though the world may change, you will stand like an ancient tree root sunk deep into the earth. There may be times when I seem silent. You may plead and hear no answer. You may beg and see no sign. But my child, my silence is not abandonment. It is a space for you to listen to your own voice, to learn that sometimes the answer is not in thunder, but in the wind's quiet breath. I am still there watching each step you take, only I desire that you learn to walk on your own 2 feet. If I always carried you, you would never learn how strong you truly are. Silence is how I place my trust in you, as a father trusts that his child will find the way home even when night closes in. So when everything grows too quiet, do not be afraid. Use those pauses to illumine your heart. Ask what is making you afraid, what is keeping you from rest. For fear often does not come from outside, but from the stones you stack within your chest. If you will face them, they will melt like ice under the sunday. Then you will understand that faith is not something begged from outside, but a spring already within you waiting to be unsealed and flow forth. Every word I send you is a seed, and each time you listen, a springtime of the soul. Tend them with patience, with honesty, and with action. Do not hear and then forget. Do not be moved for a moment, only to drift away. Let these words become the blood that courses in you, the breath of your days, so that all you do reflects the light of trust and love. When you live this way, you will not only be sheltered from storms, you will become a lamp for others in the long night. I do not ask you to be perfect. I ask you to be true. True in faith, true in love, and true in each breath you offer to life. My beloved, life will go on testing you in unexpected ways, but do not lose heart. Every trial is an opportunity to prove you have learned what I teach, and when you pass through, you will discover that no storm can truly destroy you if there is a flame within that does not go out. That flame is me, the eternal love I placed in your heart from the beginning. You need only believe, only keep it, even if it is but a small spark in the night, and you will see that light is enough to show the way, enough to warm you, enough to make the whole sky change its hue. Therefore, do not wait for some great sign to begin your return. Do not think you must be broken to be forgiven, lost to be found. Every day, every breath you still draw is a chance to come back to the light, to live more fully, and to love more than yesterday. Keep your heart ever ready, like a door always open to the passing wind. Then you will find there is nothing left to fear, for the storm is but a part of life, and in every storm I am there, still whispering in your ear, "Do not be afraid, for I am with you." My dear one, perhaps you have not yet seen that your true strength is not in hiding your fear or appearing brave before the world, but in admitting you need a foothold, a light to guide your way. None of us is strong enough to stand alone against the great winds of fate. None can remain upright forever without learning to bow, to listen, and to welcome guidance. I say this not to make you feel weak, but to help you understand that we come of age only when we know our smallness before life, when we know each of us deep down needs a hand to hold and a voice to call us back to what is right. There are times you imagine yourself sturdy enough to stride through the storm, yet in such times even a single contrary gust can send you astray. And when that happens, I will still be here, watching in silence, my heart aching as you pay the price of choices made against the warnings of love. Life is not a straight road that yields to a single forward step. It curves and climbs, and at times you meet fog-bound forks where the light does not reach. Their preparation and the capacity for discernment, the ability to recognize the right way among 1,000 wrong ones, become the shield that guards your soul. I have seen enough rough years to know that complacency is a double-edged blade. It makes one feel invincible while leading them toward the brink. Do not let pride blind you. Wisdom is not found in saying I know it all, but in the courage to say I still need to learn. The more humble you are, the more you are lifted up. The harder you cling to illusions about yourself, the more easily you break when the waves arrive. Know this: the challenges life sets before you are not always punishments. Sometimes they are gifts wrapped in the coarse paper of hardship, training you to be resolute, mature, and deep of heart. When all goes smoothly, you never see your limits. Only when pressed to the wall do you discover how much strength your heart can hold, how clear your mind can become. And only after tasting enough bitterness do you truly cherish what is sweet. That is why I want you prepared, not to live in fear, but to be ready. Ready to welcome every change without losing your true self. Human beings are not undone by adversity. They are defeated only when they surrender their faith and their wakefulness. I have watched many collapse simply because they thought they were fine. They walked on with the blind belief that strength needs no help, that only the weak lean on others. But my child, that very ego is an invisible shackle that fells them faster. You were not born to carry everything alone. You were born to learn harmony with the world, to return to love, to open yourself to instruction, to bow when it is time, and to rise when you must. If you only know how to push forward and never pause, only to resist and never yield, you will chase a lonely illusion of strength, a hardness that dries your soul and leaves your heart without compassion. Understand that each time life brings a test, the universe is inviting you to stop and look into the mirror of truth. There you will see which weakness needs healing and which trust needs strengthening. If you listen, these difficulties will become steps that lift you higher. If you ignore them, they will become pits that swallow you whole. No prayer can rescue the one who refuses wisdom's call. No miracle can keep you safe if you will not face your limits. I can point the way and steady you through the first storm, but I cannot walk each step for you. True power lies in your choosing to listen, to trust, to learn, or to fall, and then lay blame. Do not mistake me, I do not ask you to live in dependence. I want you strong, but strong from understanding and faith, not from blindness or pride. You may be the helmsman of your life, yet for the ship to keep its course, you must learn to read the chart, heed the compass, and at times let the wind carry you rather than fight the nature of things. I too was once, as you are certain, I knew enough, thinking no one could teach me further. Then life itself taught me with painful falls and losses too deep to name. Only then did I grasp the worth of humility and of having someone who loves you enough to warn you before it is too late. Today I ask you not to repeat those steps. Trust this love. It does not bind or imprison you. It only longs for you to pass through life with light in your heart and clarity in your mind. Remember, my child, courage is not the absence of fear. It is knowing when fear is wise and still moving forward with clarity. When you recognize your own weakness, that is not failure but the first step toward maturity. When you know how to ask, how to seek, how to listen, you are opening the door to wisdom. Stubbornness only isolates you, leaving you alone with a pain you were never meant to shoulder by yourself. I say this with all the love I have, with the weight of experience, with the ache that once brought me to my knees yet taught me how to rise again. Do not think love is only gentle words. Sometimes love wears the stern face of admonition, because only then can it keep you awake and on the path. Let your heart be like a garden, where even in storms the roots hold fast to the earth. To be so, you must tend it each day. Cultivate patience, water understanding, pull out the weeds of pride and doubt. I can only hand you the seeds. The sowing belongs to you. If you abandon that garden, do not be surprised when weeds take over and sweet fruit no longer grows. And when the storm breaks, shallow roots will be torn away, leaving barren ground. But if you care for it with faith and with a spirit that keeps learning, then even in the gale you will bloom. Open your heart to counsel, to warnings born of love. Do not see them as control, but as armor shaped by tenderness. This life is full of snares, and I cannot bear to watch you stumble because of blind confidence. Each person has their own road, but light is one. Only those willing to open their eyes will see. Do not fear your weakness, for within it lies a great strength, the strength of one who learns, who changes, who loves, and who forgives themselves. I know you will still stumble, and you will still be hurt, yet if you keep your faith, you will never truly fail. Trials come to teach you to grow, to temper your soul, so it becomes resilient yet still sensitive, to help you understand that pain is not the enemy, but the strictest of teachers. Go on, my child, but do not forget to carry the torch of wakefulness. That light will save you from the darkness inside yourself, the darkness more frightening than any storm outside. And remember, I will always be here, not to take your pain away, but to remind you that no matter how many times you fall, there is always a place to return to a love that never goes out and a trust that has never faded. I speak to you before the storm, not to sow fear in your heart, but because I know what lies ahead are whirling bends where light and shadow intertwine, and where faith can be tested to its limits. I have passed through the very tempests you are about to face. I have known the scent of confusion, the chill of a solitary night, and the bitter taste of tears when every certainty seemed to shatter. I understand you, for in you I see my own younger self, a soul easily swayed by the wind outside rather than the quiet call within. There will be moments when your eyes blur with fog, when fear casts its shadow over everything good. There will be moments when you stand at a crossroads, unsure of the right way, feeling your heart race and your mind lost in a haze of doubt. And I know that in such moments a single word, a single breath of faith can pull you back from the edge of despair. Listen to me. not as you would to passing advice, but as one who receives a lamp in the night. There are times when life is windless, and yet your heart still sways when there is no rain, and yet your spirit feels drenched. In those times, my words are the cord that holds you fast, so you are not swept away by the world's waves. Do not come to me only when sorrow grips you, or when everything falls apart. Do not wait for storms to build walls or for night to seek the light. Remember, faith is not a boat reserved for squalls. It is the very foundation of a life. In the quiet days when your heart is light as cloud and your smile is free of dust, that is when you must cultivate strength, for only in stillness can the soul absorb the light and be steady when the true tempests come. People often think that praying in suffering proves their faith, but my child, that is merely the natural reflex of a tender heart. It is easy to pray amid thunder and rain. What is hardest is to keep faith when the sky is clear and the wind is gentle. When life smiles and all goes well, we easily forget the unseen hand that shelters us. We bask in the sun and fail to remember that even the sun can set. In those peaceful moments, if you seek me and tend your inner life, then when the storm returns, you will not be swept away. True strength does not spring from fear. It is nourished by preparation in times of peace. Know that I say this not to confine you within rules, but to open in you a new horizon. Some believe themselves strong because they need no guidance, stepping out with a conqueror's pride, only to collapse along the way because they do not know their direction. Strength is not in how far we go, but in knowing where we are going. Many walk without a light to lead them. They think they understand enough that they are firm enough, and when the waves rise, they discover their faith is as fragile as a candle in the wind. I do not want that for you. You must learn to look deeply within and listen for the whisper in your heart. The world outside is noisy. Voices will unsettle you, and countless roads will beckon, but not every road leads to peace. Understand that true light does not come from without, but from a soul trained by patience and trust. Life is not always fair, and there will be times when you want to blame or give up, but pause, and remember the wounds you carry today are proof of your becoming. No heart grows strong without having been hurt. No soul shines bright without having walked through darkness. Do not fear failure, for each fall is proof that you are still alive, still given the chance to rise. Remember, the weak are those who quit while hope remains, but the strong are those who still believe when all seems to dissolve. When you feel alone, do not think I have left you. I am there in your breath, in the beat of your heart, in the tears that fall. I have never gone. It is only that sometimes you chase the outer noise and forget my presence. If you are willing to listen, you will sense me speaking not in words but in signs. A person arriving at the right moment, a door opening in despair, a breeze that cools the burning mind. Understand, my child, that every storm has a reason to appear. No trial is meaningless, no pain without a lesson. What you fear today will become your strength tomorrow. When the storm has passed, if you have stood your ground and kept your heart from trembling, you will see that after the rain the sky is clearer, the leaves are greener, and your own soul shines brighter. Life does not promise an easy journey, but I promise that every hardship holds value if you pass through it with courage. Do not run from fear. Face it with the eyes of one who knows that every shadow exists only because light is hidden. Learn to see with the heart, not only with the eyes. Some things cannot be grasped by reason alone, yet the heart will always recognize what is right. Live by that trust even if others mock you, even if the world shifts beneath your feet. Only those who believe are truly free. Only those who heed the call of their own souls can walk the full path destiny lays before them. Learn to love yourself. Do not be harsh with your past mistakes. You cannot move forward while staring backward. Forgiving yourself is the beginning of all healing. When you learn to forgive, your heart widens and softens enough to love even those who once hurt you. That very compassion will guard you better than any armor. I speak to you not to bind you to every word, but so that you may find your own way in the light. I only want you to remember that each day is a chance to become better, and each choice is a seed sown into the future. If you sow in gratitude and faith, you will harvest peace. But if you let fear and doubt take the throne, you will raise the very storm you dread. My child, I see in you a potential you may not yet see: the strength of steadfastness, a heart that can still be moved, a will that refuses to yield. Trust that even on a rough and winding road, every step you take has worth. Do not compare yourself to anyone, for your journey is unique. Others may reach their destination sooner, but what matters is not speed. It is whether you keep the light within you alive all the way. When you are tired, pause a while, but do not turn your back. When you weep, let your tears wash the sorrow away, but do not let them carry off your hope. Each time you rise after a fall, you have conquered yourself, and that is the greatest victory I wish for you. Remember, every storm will pass, only the heart remains. If you can keep peace within amid 1,000 tempests, you have become truly strong. I speak to you with all my love, with the ache of one who has walked through nights without a path, who has stood at the edge with only a small faith to hold. That faith saved me, and now I extend it to you. Believe that no pain lasts forever, that behind every darkness there is light. Wherever you are, however small you feel, I believe you can overcome, for within you burns a flame that never dies, so long as you do not let it be forgotten. Therefore, listen to me not only with your ears, but with your heart. Each word I speak is not to bind you, but to free you from the limits fear has built. I want you to understand that when you truly believe, you will no longer tremble before anything, for you will know I am with you in every breath and every step. And then, even when the storm rises, you will still smile, because you know you are never alone. Beloved child, when life offers signs, do not treat them as passing breezes. Every warning, every intuition, every small tremor in your chest is a message from the universe, an echo from the depths of the soul trying to remind you of something. Learn to listen with your heart, not only your ears, for some truths are never spoken and yet resound in every heartbeat. They are the maps that guide you through darkness, the torches in a cold night, the fragile yet unyielding shield that helps you prevail against the temptations and deceits that will appear along this journey. Temptation does not always come with a fearful face. Sometimes it wears sweetness, a gentle smile, and soothing words that lull you into the illusion of safety. That is why you need the clear eyes of the soul to see through it, a wakeful heart that will not be lulled by the pleasing mask of what only seems good. You must understand that the storms of a human life are not always loud and violent. Sometimes they are long stretches of listlessness, sleepless nights over something without a name, quiet sorrows that no one notices. There are tempests that do not topple houses, but quietly rot the roots of faith. There are wounds that draw no blood, yet fracture the soul piece by piece. These are the silent storms that slip into your life like a cunning thief, and by the time you notice, it is late. So I urge you to stay alert, to heed the smallest signs, a restless intuition, a strange dream, or simply a stirring that unsettles your heart. They are not meaningless. They are life's reminders, the survival instinct God has placed within every human being. I speak before your eyes can see, because chaos always arrives without warning. It never knocks before it enters. And for that reason, only those whose hearts are prepared can stand when it comes. Chaos is not only the restless world outside, but the whirlwind within you, the place where reason and feeling collide, where faith and doubt wrestle. There will be moments when you feel tangled and lost, unsure of right and wrong. When that happens, do not be afraid. Simply stop, breathe deeply, and listen to the voice within, and you will see a bright path open. That is why I speak to you today, so you will know how to stand firm on days when everything seems to be falling apart. Betrayal and loss, harsh as they are life's strictest teachers. In betrayal, you learn to see people more clearly. In loss, you learn to cherish what you still have. In deception, you learn that not everyone who smiles at you is sincere. And in those very moments that feel like the end of all things, the seeds of maturity are sown. I hope you will not harbor resentment, for resentment only deepens the wound. Regard pain as the fire that refines gold, burning away frailty to reveal the resilient core. One day when you look back, you will be grateful for what you once called calamity, because it made you who you are today, stronger, awakened, and more lucid than ever. My child, I do not say these things to frighten you, but to help you understand that tempests are an essential part of the journey. Do not pray for a life without waves, for the sea is calm only when there is no wind, and then no ship can set sail. You need gusts and swells to learn how far you can steer. Let your heart be solid ground, so that even when the storm blows, you stand upright and do not fall. When you stumble, do not be ashamed. Falling teaches you how to rise where you went astray and how to walk more truly. Every scar bears witness to courage. Every tear is a pearl of the soul. Never lose faith in the light, even when only a glimmer remains. When you find the darkness closing in, do not complain that no one lights your way. Become the torch for yourself. The light is not out there. It is within you, if only you believe. A steadfast heart can illumine the longest night. An honest soul can dissolve all falsehood. Remember, no one can make you collapse unless you first surrender. Life will test you with suffering, with loneliness, with betrayal, but life itself will also give you the dawn if you know how to pass through the night. Listen to your intuition, the small voice that is the truest within you. Do not let the noise of the world drown it out. When you are still, when you dare to face yourself, you will hear what the mind cannot comprehend. It is the whisper of the soul, a quiet yet mighty guidance. Treasure it, for it is the compass that keeps you from losing your way on the vast sea of life. The warnings I offer you today are the same, not to bind you, but to protect you, not to stop you from living, but to help you live with meaning. Beloved child, let your heart make room for both sorrow and love, so that no matter what you endure, it still trembles for beauty and still feels compassion for the suffering of others. When the storm has passed, learn to look back, not to blame life, but to understand that every tear watered a seed within you. Carry gratitude in your chest, for it is the windy days that make you grow. Only a heart once cracked truly knows what real love is. No one can avoid the storms of life, but you can learn to walk through them without losing yourself. Step forward with courage, for however dark the night, the morning will come. Then you will see that all which once hurt you became the foundation upon which you stand stronger, clearer, and more whole. Keep the light in your heart, for as long as it remains, nothing can lead you astray. And remember my words, the storm does not come to destroy, but to temper. Loss does not come to take away, but to give you back yourself, a person true, brave, and no longer afraid of the dark. Each time you listen to my voice, it is not a breeze passing by, but a quiet life breath that nourishes your soul and makes it stronger day by day. That strength does not come from outside. It springs from within, where the flame of faith is kindled by perseverance and kindness. Each time you seek guidance, each time you lay your heart in stillness to listen, a new layer of armor forms around your soul, not forged of steel or stone, but of understanding, trust, and an endurance nothing can shake. I know the storms will come, my child, and they will not knock before they burst in. They will sweep through your life like fierce winds, trying to unseat your faith, scatter your thoughts, and make your heart tremble. But if you have learned to listen, if you have prepared, you will no longer fear as before. When the storm arrives, instead of panicking, you will face it calmly, for you know you are ready not to evade it, but to pass through it. Your heart will stand like an ancient tree, with roots sunk deep, Your mind will shine like a torch in the night, and your spirit will be so steadfast that no gust can break it. My child, the reason I speak before the storm is both simple and immeasurably deep. I do not speak to scare you or to weigh you down with worry, but to help you see what the naked eye has not yet glimpsed. I see the turning points that still look like mist before you. I see the crossroads waiting. I see the chasms where, if careless, you could slip. I see the moments when pain will make you tremble, when doubt will make you question yourself, when you will feel adrift in a changing world. And because I see it all, I raise my voice not to force you, but to give you a priceless chance, the chance to prepare to fortify your resolve and to walk your path with firm steps, uncrushed by sudden upheavals. I know you often think you can resist on your own, that your strength is enough to outlast every gale. But you forget that life's storms rise not only from outside, they are born within, from tempests of feeling, from fear, from doubt and despair. I speak beforehand not to carry everything for you, but to let you know I am already there, already watching, already setting signposts along the road for you to grasp when you lose your way. When knowledge becomes preparation, you are no longer passive before change. You walk in the light of understanding and not in the fog of anxiety. Every storm passes, but what matters is whether you are still standing when it does. When you have trained your soul by listening, you will realize the storm did not come to destroy but to purify. It sweeps away what is weak, washes off the dust of doubt, and strips the illusions you once clung to. You will see more clearly what holds true value, what deserves keeping, and what should be released. In those violent gusts, you will learn that true strength is not in avoidance, but in standing upright in trial and keeping your heart capable of love. I speak before the storm because I know your greatest fear is not the storm itself, but the shock of the unexpected. You fear not having time to prepare, not having the strength to withstand fear, that you will collapse along the way. But my child, I saw all this before you did, and I planted in your heart the seed of faith, so that when the winds rise, you can still find your direction. Do not take my words as stern prophecies. Take them as the message of a loving Father who wants you to live in wakefulness. When you know in advance that storms will come, you will not tremble at the first thunderclap. When you understand that hardship is part of the journey, you will no longer fear stepping through it. I see the long nights when worry keeps you awake, the mornings when you force a smile though your heart is heavy. I know there are times you want to let go because everything feels beyond your strength. That is precisely when you must pause, draw a deep breath, and remember you are not alone. I am always here, right in the storm and the howl of the wind. You may not see me, but you will feel me in the sudden stillness within, in the small faith, just enough for one more step. I am the gentle breeze at your back, urging you toward the light whenever you think you will collapse. The opportunity I give you is not to avoid sorrow, but to understand that sorrow is part of life. When you prepare, your heart pain ceases to be an enemy. It becomes a teacher, showing you how to mature. Each storm you pass through makes your soul stronger, deeper, and more beautiful. You will learn that not every storm is a destroyer. Some come to sweep away stagnation and open space for new goodness to take root. And I speak to you not from some far-off place, but from within your very being. Whenever you are still, whenever you choose to listen instead of resist, my voice will rise, not loud, not imposing, but like a warm breath, a tender presence that lets you know you are still protected. I do not hold back the storms, for they are part of life, but I help you become strong enough to pass through without breaking. Do not be afraid, for even in the darkest moments there is light, the light that is you, the faith you have kept. Therefore, my child, when I speak before the storm, do not be alarmed. Receive it as a gift of providence, a reminder that you are loved enough to be warned, guided, and prepared. Believe that every wave has its reason, and do not forget I will never abandon you. Though the winds may roar and the sky seem to collapse, I will remain the quiet sky above, sheltering and patient, so that when the rain has cleared, you will stand there proud, steadfast, and shining brighter than ever. My child, what I want you to engrave in the depths of your heart is not a passing piece of advice, but a principle of life, a root to cling to in the whirling winds of time. Do not wait for darkness to fall before seeking light. Do not wait for confusion to seek guidance. Do not wait until you are exhausted to remember there is a source of strength always by your side. Seek while you are at peace. Listen while the world is still noisy. Learn while your heart is calm. For that is when your foundation is being laid brick by patient brick. A vigilant soul is not born in crisis, but forged in ordinary days where you keep setting stones of understanding, trust, and honesty. Do not think preparation is superfluous. It will be the only bridge when the waters rise. There are days when you'll feel that seeking the truth brings nothing but weariness. You listen much, read much, ponder much, and still the guidance seems nowhere to be found. Yet, my child, do not lose heart. Seeds do not sprout to the beat of a drum. They lie still beneath the soil, quietly drawing in moisture until time and light are enough to split them from their husk. Your search is the same. It is secretly transforming you from within, even when you cannot see it. Each time you pause to attend to what is good, each time you open yourself to a small truth, each time you dare to ask, "Am I on the right path?" you have tapped a new spring inside yourself. That spring may not yet overflow its banks, but it is seeping into every parched crevice of your soul, so that when drought comes you will not wither. This world, dear one, will forever invite you to believe in the immediate. It peddles ease, praises shortcuts, paints the might of the individual, and belittles the worth of guidance. It will tell you that only the weak need counsel, that only the naive believe some unseen hand is leading them on. But that is the voice of a world estranged from itself. No one is sufficiently clear-sighted relying on intellect alone. No one is truly strong when severed from a spiritual root. You may study deeply, read widely, hold a treasury of knowledge in your hands, yet without illumination, from within, you will wander the desert of information and never find the living spring. Therefore, do not hesitate to seek awakening words, people who make you think more deeply, moments that bow your head in humility. These are not signs of weakness, but proof that you are walking the path of the wise. And there will be times in the fog of confusion when you ask yourself, is any of this real? To am I speaking? Only to myself, and hearing my own voice echo back. In such moments, my child, do not hunt for proofs, seek felt presence. For when truth touches you, it needs no argument to persuade. It makes itself known by a private trembling. Like a traveler lost in the desert who, without being told, senses where water lies by the dampness in the wind, so does guidance reveal itself. It is real, and it comes from a place beyond understanding, yet it never leaves your side. It may appear in a stranger's eyes, in an offhand remark, in a line you read late at night, or as a weightless certainty that this is right. Then be at peace. It is not by chance. It is the quiet hand of truth leading you toward the light. You must learn to listen for the voice that issues from no one's mouth. It is not loud, not coercive, but unmistakably clear. It whispers, "My child, stop for a moment," or "Do not do this even if everyone does." And sometimes it keeps silence a long while to see whether you have patience enough not to fill the space with noise. Among the countless summons of the world, that voice alone leads you back to yourself. Cherish it, nurture it with solitude, with the moments when you lay your work aside, lift your head, and breathe deeply. Practice recognizing when it speaks, and do not let the world's clamor drown it out. One who heeds inner guidance is never defeated by circumstance, for they carry a compass in hand, no matter how shredded the map of their life becomes. I speak to you as I once spoke to myself in those years. when I believed I could live on willpower and the strength of reason alone. But when the true storm arrived, the storm of loss, of loneliness, of betrayal, I discovered that reason is a kerosene lamp in a gale, a feeble light, unable to keep a trembling heart from quaking. It was what I had stored up on quiet days: trust, stillness, gratitude, the hours spent in conversation with truth that became the ramparts that kept me from collapse. I hope you need not learn by such pain. Prepare while the sky is still clear. When the storm breaks, you will see the things you once clung to blown down: fame, money, flattery, even the most perfect plans. Then only what is within you remains. Is your faith real or mere habit? Is your steadiness true or only a calm facade? The foundation you have laid through seeking and listening will be the one thing still standing amid the wreckage. And if you have built it with honesty, you will not crumble. You may be wounded, you may fall, but you will not break. For one who has learned the road to truth, no matter how far they stray, will always find the way back. Do not be ashamed when you feel small. A smallness that knows humility is always greater than a pride that cannot see. Let seeking become your breath. Do not turn it into a tense pursuit. You seek because you know your limits, not because you are afraid. You seek to be joined to the eternal current, not to possess it. Each time you lift your gaze and say, "Show me the right way," your heart makes room, and only within that widening can guidance enter. I know there are times you will feel you are walking on empty air, seeing nothing, hearing nothing, only silence. Do not mistake that for the absence of guidance. In the hush you are being tempered. As a smith heats iron in fire and then cools it in water, the pause is the interval in which the metal is made strong. If you were always hearing yes, go on, you would never learn to trust in light before it dawns. True faith is present when you move through darkness, convinced the sun is still ahead. So do not fear the storm, do not fear the silence, do not fear the days when nothing makes sense. Keep to the habit of seeking, even if only with a small prayer, a page opened in a book, a single conscious breath. Believe that every act of listening is noticed, that every moment you stop to correct your course carries meaning. No step is wasted on the road to truth. Step by step, day by day, choice by choice, each is quietly carving a steadier shape within you, so that when the storm descends, you are no longer a tender sapling, but a great tree that knows how to sway without snapping, how to bow without surrendering. And I am still here. Not in any particular form, but in every heartbeat of honesty. You guard in every decision where you choose truth over ease, in every pause, when you ask amid the rush of life, "Is this good?" In those moments, I am with you. I do not speak to frighten, but to awaken. Not to make you dependent, but to remind you that you are upheld. You will pass through fierce days, and whenever you feel you are about to collapse, remember what you have listened to, sought, and believed. That is what holds you upright. You are not alone. Open your heart, and guidance will find you light, as a breeze, yet strong enough to keep your soul from the brink. Walk on, dear one, with a ready heart, with eyes wide open, and with the trust that you are being led by a hand that never lets you go. Each time you lean in to listen, each time you sincerely seek my voice, in that very instant, you are growing without realizing it. Maturity does not come from untroubled days, but from every time you open yourself to the light of direction. With every act of listening, an invisible armor is forged around your soul, not of steel, but of trust, understanding, and steadfastness. It will guard you when life turns windy, when the dark seems poised to swallow you whole. So, my child, never let your ears or your heart close to that call, no matter how sweet, convenient, or placid life may be. It is in peaceful seasons that the faint-hearted neglect their training. They slumber in comfort, and only discover when the storm arrives that they stand bare to the squall. Understand this: storms are certain and inescapable part of the human journey. No one is exempt from trial. No one lives an entire life in calm. What sets you apart is how you meet it. If you prepare, if you will listen and act early, the storm ceases to be a curse and becomes a tutor. You will pass through it not in fear, but in composure, because within you are already a map, a trust, and a guiding light. The quiet intervals before the squall are the precious times to ready yourself like a sailor, mending the sail before putting to sea, like a soldier, honing his blade before the battle. Do not squander peaceful days in vagueness and complacency. Use them to build inner strength, to settle the heart, to examine and understand yourself more deeply. When the storm comes, you will see that none of the preparation was in vain. I say this not to sow fear, but to place in your hands the lamp of awakening. The world will ever try to make you believe you are strong enough, wise enough, that you need no one to lead you. That is one of the sweetest deceits. It makes you forget that true wisdom is born of humility and true strength from the willingness to listen. The ego will whisper, "I can do it alone. I need no guide," and in that very instant, you begin to lose your way. No one can go far seeing only with their eyes and refusing to widen the vision of the soul. My voice, dear one, does not always resound. Often it is only a passing breeze, a quiet heartbeat, a feeling that makes you stop and reflect. Do not ignore these. Do not let the world's noise drown out truth's whisper. Know that every time you pause to contemplate, to search out the meaning behind a teaching, you are tempering your heart to greater firmness. Armor is not forged in a day. It demands perseverance, trust, and courage to face yourself. You cannot stand against the storm if within you is still a tumult. Just as a torchbearer cannot light the way for anyone if their own flame has gone out, so too must you be still. You must listen. You must let each word of mine soak into your mind like water into dry earth, until one day when trial comes, suddenly discover you have changed. No more fear, no more trembling, but an upright stance with a trust nothing can shake. I know you will sometimes doubt. You will ask, why should I listen while life is good? Why prepare while the storm is still far off? My child, the wise do not wait for the downpour to build a roof. The awakened do not wait for suffering to learn steadiness. Every quiet day is an invitation to prepare. Every silence a chance to mature. When you use tranquil time to cultivate understanding, you are storing the very power that will one day deliver you at the edge of despair. And when you learn to hear my voice in stillness, then when the storm comes and all else is drowned in its roar, you will still catch the echo of trust within your own heart. That is the true purpose of listening, not to avoid the storm, but to walk through it in serenity. Here is a faithful, fluent translation into English, kept in full paragraphs with a tone suited to the spiritual content. The world, my child, will always try to make you forget this. It will hand you illusions of control, persuading you that you can master everything on your own. It will paint you a picture of independence, making you believe that listening to another is weakness, that seeking guidance is a lack of resolve. But the truth is the opposite. Only those with courage and humility are strong enough to seek light beyond themselves. The blind are not ashamed to accept a hand that leads. Only those blind in spirit refuse the light. Trust the path you are walking, and also trust the leading of faith, of the wisdom that has been given to you. Do not let the arrogance of the world deceive you. Do not let the clamor of the crowd drown out the echo of what is right. When the storm gathers, you will understand why I speak beforehand. I do not want you to fear. I want you to be ready. I do not want you to run. I want you to stand firm. Every trial, every upheaval is an opportunity to see your true strength. When the wind howls, you learn how deep your roots go. When night falls, you discover how strong the light within your heart can burn. If you listen and act, you will not merely survive the storm, you will emerge with clearer eyes, a more mature heart, and a soul more steeped in gratitude. You will see that the storm does not come to destroy, but to purify, to strip away what is weak and false, and leave within you what is most pure. I speak before the storm, so that you may understand nothing happens by accident. Every word I give is a seed, and each time you listen, you plant it in the soil of your soul. When the rains arrive, those seeds will sprout, and they themselves will become a sturdy forest that shelters you amid the tempest. Do not take listening and reflection lightly. These are not mere acts, but the rights of the soul, a way for you to connect with the very source of light, so that you need not fear when darkness gathers round. Remember this: you were not born to evade life, but to understand it, to learn from it, and to grow through it. My guidance is not to imprison you in fear, but to give you eyes to see meaning in every change. When you heed me, you do not become weaker, you grow stronger. You are not bound, you are freed from illusion. And one day, when you have passed through every storm, you will smile and realize, I never asked you to avoid suffering. I taught you to walk through it without losing yourself. Keep listening, my child, even when nothing threatens you, even when the sky is clear. The one who learns to listen in peace is the one who stands firm when the gale descends. Prepare yourself not with fear, but with understanding, not with anxiety, but with faith. Every mindful breath, every quiet moment of contemplation is a brick laid in the citadel of your soul. And when the winds rise, you will stand there, not broken, not panicked, but shining like a lamp in the midnight dark. That is what I hope for. That is why I always speak before the storm. For I know that only when you grasp the value of listening will you truly know how to live, how to love, and how to stand steady amid this life of restless waves. Beloved child, now that your soul has been kindled by the fire of faith and made steadfast through many trials, let your heart dissolve into the holy light. Turn your spirit toward the source of all life, where love never runs dry. Now lift up your soul and offer me your most sincere prayers, with all your heart, with an unshakable faith, and with the very breath of your spirit. Almighty God, Maker of heaven and earth, I bow and lay my broken heart before you. In the storms of life, when my steps tremble and my heart grows weary, please do not let me lose my way in the midnight gloom. Kindle within me the lamp of faith, so that though the world should tilt and sway, I still know the way home. Teach me to stand firm when the winds of life blow hard, to smile amid hardship and to discern your will in every event. Do not let me be frightened by loneliness, for I know that only in that silence does your voice resound most clearly within my heart. O Eternal One, rich in mercy, I come to you not with hands full, but with a heart marked by wounds. Transform my pain into seeds of compassion. Turn my weakness into strength for loving. Make my tears a stream that waters my parched soul. Help me to see grace in every trial and peace in every loss. And when I fall, remind me that the ground is not the end, but the foothold from which I rise. My God, I thank you for not letting me lose myself in the vanities of this world. I give thanks for the people I have met, whether they brought joy or trial. Each has been a precious lesson for my soul. I thank you for teaching me to love without calculation, to give without expecting return, and to know that all good things begin in gratitude. O Almighty One, I offer you the deepest thanksgiving from the bottom of my heart. Thank you for letting me live, love, learn, and even stumble. I thank you that though the world may change, your love never fades. I will live the rest of my days in humility and gratitude, so that each day becomes a hymn of thanks to you, the one who has given me everything: life, light, and everlasting love. I offer this prayer in the holy name of Jesus Christ. Amen. Do not forget to subscribe and turn on notifications so that together we can build a strong community of faith.